Have you ever experienced a moment that seemed too perfect to be just coincidence? What if I told you that even saints sometimes needed a divine lesson on pride? Today's story of Saint John Bosco involves a prestigious opportunity, a runaway horse, and a coincidence that could only be explained by divine providence. The Miracles and Prophecies of Saint John Bosco, a project of America Needs Fatima. I'm your host, Adrian Fonseca. Subscribe for new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Today, we'll explore a humbling moment in Don Bosco's early priesthood that taught him an unforgettable lesson about pride and God's mysterious ways. As we delve into this remarkable story, keep these themes in mind. The way God uses seemingly random events to teach us important lessons, how pride can sometimes precede a fall, and the beautiful ways divine providence brings people together. And a question to consider. When was the last time that God used an unexpected situation to teach you something valuable? Stay tuned to the end to learn how you can gain a deeper insight into Don Bosco's wisdom and apply it to your own spiritual journey. The link is in the description box down below, but first, let's dive into this incredible story. Once Don Bosco was ordained a priest, he was sent to his hometown of Becce to minister to the people there. Preaching in the parish every Sunday, because he was naturally gifted in this ministry, he was often sought after to preach in neighboring towns. In late October of that year, Don Bosco was invited to give the Sunday sermon in the church of St. Benigno in Laverano. The saint tells us in his own words, quote, "I willingly agreed to go because that town is the homeland of my friend and colleague, Don Giovanni Grassino. Therefore, I prepared and wrote my speech in popular but proper language. I studied it well, persuaded that I would gain honor for myself from it. But God wanted to give a terrible lesson to my boastfulness. As it was a holy day before leaving, I had to celebrate Holy Mass for my local parish and was forced to ride a horse in order to arrive in time to preach. Having covered half the road trotting and galloping, I had arrived in the valley of Castel Borgogna, when suddenly a multitude of sparrows arose from a field. The flight and noise frightened my horse, taking off and running through streets, fields, and meadows. I held on to the saddle for as long as possible until I fell overturned on top of a pile of split stones. A man named Giovanni Brina could observe my helplessness from the nearby hill and ran to my aid with one of his servants. Finding me unconscious, he took me to his house and laid me in the best bed he had. Then he must have given me the kindest care, as an hour or so later I regained consciousness and knew I was in someone else's house. 'Do not trouble yourself,' said my host. 'Do not worry, for you are in my house. You will lack for nothing here. I have already sent for the doctor, and another person went to capture your horse. I am a peasant, but I will give you everything you need. Do you feel very ill?' I replied, 'May God compensate you very much for such charity. Oh, my good friend, I think there is no serious harm in it. Perhaps a broken shoulder, which I can no longer move.' 'Where am I?' Giovanni replied. 'You are on Berzano Hill, in the house of Brina. I too have traveled the world, and I too have needed others. Oh, how many things have happened to me when I went to fairs and markets. I could tell you such stories. While we wait for the doctor, listen to one. Several years ago in autumn, I had gone to Asti with my donkey to make provisions for the winter. On the way back, having arrived in the valley of Morialdo, my poor beast, heavily laden, fell into a quagmire and lay motionless in the middle of the road. Every effort to get it up again came to nothing. It was the middle of the night, very dark, and raining hard. No longer knowing what to do, I began shouting for help. After a few minutes, a cleric and one of his brothers came with two other men carrying lit torches. They helped me unload the donkey, pulled her out of the mud, and led me and everything to their house. I was half dead. Everything was smeared with mud. They cleaned me, refreshed me with a wonderful dinner, and then gave me a very soft bed. In the morning before leaving, I wanted to give compensation as I should. The cleric refused, saying, "It may be that tomorrow we need you." At these words, Don Bosco felt moved to tears, inducing Giovanni to ask, "Do you feel ill?" "No," I replied. "I like this story so much. It moves me." Giovanni continued, "If only I knew what I could do for that good family. What good people they were." I asked, "What was their name?" "He was from the Bosco family." Then Giovanni thinks, "But why does he seem so moved? Perhaps he knows that family." So he asked, "Do you know him? Is that cleric well?" "That cleric, my good friend, is this priest, whom you reward 1,000-fold for what he has done for you. He is the same one whom you brought into your house and placed in this bed. Divine Providence has willed to make this fact known to us, that we may learn from it." Everyone could imagine the amazement of Giovanni, his wife, a sister, other relatives, and friends. They all rejoiced when they heard that he whom they had heard of so many times happened to be in their house. When the doctor arrived, he found that there were no broken bones. After just a few days, I was able to set out for home on the newfound horse. Giovanni Brina accompanied me all the way home, and as long as he lived, we remained the closest of friends. After this humbling lesson, I made a firm resolution that I would prepare my speeches for the greater glory of God in the future, and not to appear learned and literate. As we reflect on how God taught Don Bosco this powerful lesson about humility, wouldn't you like to learn more from this remarkable saint's experience? Dive into the mind of a saint. Our monthly promoters get exclusive access to Saint John Bosco's powerful writings. Imagine holding his roadmap to heaven in your hands, or exploring sacred history through his visionary eyes. These aren't just books, they're spiritual treasures that can transform your faith journey. Ready for a spiritual adventure? Become a monthly promoter now, and let Saint John Bosco be your personal spiritual guide. The link is in the description box down below right now. This remarkable story of Don Bosco's humbling experience teaches us several profound lessons. God's providence works in mysterious ways, often using what appears to be coincidence to teach us valuable lessons and bring people together in remarkable ways. Let's reflect on what we can learn from Don Bosco's experience. Pride often precedes a fall, but God's lessons, though sometimes painful, are always meant for our growth. And what goes around truly does come around. The kindness that we show others may return to us when we least expect it. Divine Providence arranges even the smallest details of our lives for our spiritual benefit. True humility comes through experience and sometimes through circumstances that force us to recognize our limitations. As you go about your week, consider the coincidences in your own life. Could they be God incidences, meant to teach you something important? Remember, like Don Bosco, sometimes our most meaningful lessons come through unexpected circumstances. What about you? Has God ever knocked you off your high horse to teach you an important lesson? Share your story in the comment section down below. I would love to hear from you, and I'm sure your experience will help others as well. Thank you for joining me today. Saint John Bosco, pray for us. May God bless you, and Mary Immaculate keep you under her mantle. God love you.